Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. I hope you're doing well. It's another Saturday, a really good day to relax, but then also to meet cool new people. This is a new thing that we are trying out. It's called Venture Voice. And what we're trying to do here is to connect you with people who are interesting, who are in Pakistan specifically, but also from other countries as well, and who have been doing some really cool stuff. So the sort of pattern for these sessions would be that we will connect with them, we'll ask them their stories, and then we'll get to ask them a lot of questions, especially the questions from your side as well. So today we have Hashir with us, and Hashir is an interesting person. I've met Hashir in Dubai last year when we went to Jitex. So he is a founder at RipeSeed, which is a consultancy firm, and they're doing a lot of cool things with AI with their customers as well. And this is what we are going to talk about today. So we are going to talk about how they're leveraging AI, especially to help out their businesses. And we are also going to ask some interesting questions from your side and then also from my side as well. With that said, I'm gonna bring Hashir on front and let him introduce himself. Welcome, Hashir. I can't hear you for some reason. Let's see if your microphone is
Can
on.
you hear me now?
Yes, I can now.
Okay,
Awesome.
perfect. Technical issues.
No problem.
So first of all, thanks a lot for the kind introduction. So just to give you a very brief introduction about myself, my name is Hashir Baig. I am currently running RipeSeed, a team of 20 to 25 people, and we have been in operation for the past 3 years. Currently, we are serving the clients majorly in the AI area. A lot of the projects, a lot of the products we have been developing and we have developed for the clients in the past 1.5 years are centered around AI. So yeah, just a very brief introduction about myself.
That's great. And one of the very interesting things about you is that recently you also got sort of highlighted by Startup Pakistan. Could you tell me
Right.
how that happened and what was it that they highlighted about you?
Yeah. So that recognition was basically about us achieving the 800K in revenue mark on Upwork. Now that figure is public and can be validated by anyone basically. So anyone can just go and on our Upwork agency account and just verify that. Now achieving that number is not something huge or different. A lot of companies, a lot of agencies around the world have achieved that number. But the difference between us and them is we are operating entirely as a Pakistan-based agency, and we are just accepting that as well, and we are publicly acknowledging that fact as well. So when you go to our Upwork agency, you won't see that there is something like US or Europe or some other location written over there. So we just completely mentioned Lahore, Pakistan, and then based on that location, we generated the revenue of 800K plus on agency. So people have this misunderstanding or like these myths that you can't operate as an agency on Upwork or agencies don't scale on Upwork. You have to impersonate yourself as an individual and then you can run an agency behind that. So
Mhm.
that was a challenge and we took that as a challenge personally. I took that as a challenge personally when we started, and that worked out pretty great for us. And so that post, the thing that Startup Pakistan um, posted was basically about that recognition, that achievement, that we have crossed that number, that revenue number, being in Pakistan, acting as an agency and representing that people from Pakistan, agencies from Pakistan, and talent from Pakistan is capable of delivering that kind of value. And the 800K mark means we have delivered that amount of value, but that 800K might have generated 3 or 4x more revenue for our clients.
Uh-huh, that's super cool. So there's so many things that you just said and can be derived out from there. The first of all, the audience that we have here, they are consisting of both people who are running agencies and people who want to start as a freelancer. And on one side, we have people who have this sort of assumption that you
Right.
can't really get into Upwork or you cannot make business pretty easily. And then there's you with an agency, having a 800K mark. That's amazing. But then on the other side, as you mentioned, I've personally also um, faced this, or I've seen companies who do present themselves in sort of a different region, and then on the backside, funnily, me and my friends, we used to say, it's going to be a John Smith somewhere who's talking, but behind the scenes it's just a Sikandar somewhere. So
in Johor
it's a
town.
exactly. So that's really one of the pinnacles that we at IOMechs also thought that we would never do, and we would be very transparent with our clients. So it's really great to see that there are companies in Pakistan who really value just being transparent, because I don't think there has to be um, any sort of shame or any sort of reason, a strong reason for us hiding, because the perception that is out there is specifically because of these things that a lot of people have done, and that sort of brings it it down for Pakistanis, that there are some flaws, or there's a lack of transparency when they are doing business, and there's a matter of trust. Because as companies, I've worked with a lot of people in different regions. So for example, Saudi Arabia, we have UK, and I think in all of the places, the one pattern that I've seen that is really really important is everybody wants someone who's trustworthy to work with.
Exactly,
So,
exactly.
and especially the Saudis, so they're really
Right,
really hard to get their trust, and then
right.
when they open up to you, then obviously they work pretty nicely. But even the UK, the West, it's really really important that you be transparent, you be open with communication, and then do all of that. Is that something that you focus highly in RipeSeed?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Transparency is the key thing. I mean, so even from the very early days, I mean, I would say at this moment it's easier for us because now we have a huge portfolio and we have, I mean, testimonials from a lot of clients. But even in the beginning, when you were starting out, we were very very transparent. I mean, I just told all of our clients that even though it's just me in the company right now, we are going to be an agency, and the project that I am working on right now for you, I might assign someone else on the project. So
Mhm.
the clients knew from the day one that okay, even if this guy is engaging right now on the project, later on it's going to be someone else. And this is the so again, this is kind of a psychological thing as well if you think of it, that once you start being transparent and open with people, people will start trusting you more,
Mm,
right? Once you start telling them your deficiencies or where you lack, their concerns. So every client on Upwork or anywhere in the world has just one concern, just one single concern. Every client has this one concern, that this guy might scam me,
mm,
right? There is no second concern, everything else is derived from this concern, right? So
mm,
there is just one single concern, that this guy might
mm,
scam me.
mm,
As someone who do not have any portfolio, as someone who do not have any testimonials, how can you make the client believe that okay, you won't scam them?
mm,
Just bring that concern up front.
mm,
Okay, tell them if the scam happens, what will you do? So in
mm,
the initial days, what we used to do was we used to provide 1 week trial to all of our clients. So it was kind of like a money back guarantee. And so if they don't like the output in first
mm,
week, they will be refunded the whole amount for the first week, right? So we provided that money back guarantee to the clients, and even at this moment we still do that with some clients.
mm,
So you just give them the ownership that it's written in the contract. If you don't like the output,
mm,
okay, it's and you decide whether or not you like the output or not.
mm,
Okay, we won't tell them, we won't justify. You decide whether or not you like the output or not, and
mm.
if the client is actually good, and if you have actually done some good work, then they will, I mean, never end the contract with you. And
Okay.
this same approach in the very early days helped us close a client who onboarded 5 of our people full
Mm,
time on his project. I mean, it was in the first year of the company. So 5 of our I have not shared this story before. I'm planning to share this, but I think this can be your platform where I'm
mhm,
sharing this story for the first time.
mhm,
So I just went on a meeting with him on Upwork. He initially agreed to onboard 2 of our people. I gave him the money back guarantee. Like if you don't like the output, we just refund the whole amount
mm,
after the first week. And he really liked the output, and he onboarded three more of our people. And
mm.
in the lifetime of that client, we generated more than 100K from that client.
That's amazing. That's awesome. I do want to shift a bit more towards the client side now,
Yeah, sure.
from the agency. So when the clients come to you, what are the top strategies that you recommend for startups who want to bootstrap, in today's market? Because it is a challenging market that we have today. So
Right.
what do you recommend to businesses who want to start today?
So what kind of businesses? The clients' businesses, the ones who want to build products, or
Yes, the product
okay,
based companies. Yes.
the product based companies. Okay,
Mhm.
so one of the I think the title of the this webinar is Bootstrap as well. So one
Mhm.
of the pattern that we are seeing consistently for the past many months is all of the client, like out of all the clients we are working with, the bootstrap ones are the most successful,
Mm.
right? So there is a client of ours who is completely bootstrapped. He had an agency before working with us. He still has that agency. That agency was a local SEO business agency.
Mhm.
So he built products based on that agency's expertise. He started automating a lot of the things he was doing manually within his agency, and that product really skyrocketed his services business, and then just three times scaled up his revenue as well, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, and he was completely bootstrapped. So bootstrapping puts a pressure on you to work hard. You don't have anything to rely on. You are not looking at the financial backup that, okay, I still have this much amount of money to burn. You have nothing to burn when you are bootstrapping. You have nothing to burn. So every step, every penny you spend is, you are considering that as a negative, that
Mhm.
I'm going negative every month. I have to just make it positive as well and then make a profit, right? So it puts a good kind of pressure to you. And
Mm.
then, I mean, most of the businesses we have been working with, and the ones who have been very, very successful, are bootstrap.
Mm. Okay, that makes sense. So when we talk about such businesses, you have been helping a lot of businesses with AI. Could you tell some examples of how you have enabled some customers with AI and what challenges that they have?
Mhm. Sure, sure. So with AI, things are pretty funny at this moment, because people just put AI into everything and they just feel like it's going to just make their product successful. That is not the case at
Mhm.
this moment. 1.5 years later, since ChatGPT has launched, since OpenAI announced GPT, it's not the case right now. If your product is bad, if your product is not solving a real problem, then AI cannot do anything for you. Now, what AI can do for you is just make your user experience a lot more modern, right?
Mhm.
So I recently posted this piece of content where I was saying that writing prompts is part of user experience, right?
Mhm.
So people are very much comfortable these days writing prompts and expecting the output uh, just in front of them, just on based on some prompt, right? So you have to include AI as part of your product's user experience, but don't highlight that as a key feature. Like,
Mm.
those days are gone. I mean, AI is so much into every product. So if you just say we have an AI based product, you will not be standing out. You will be part of a herd. You will be part of a crowd,
Mm.
right? So the kind of problems that we have, coming back to your question, the kind of problems that we have faced for the clients are the same ones that they were already solving.
Mm.
So like I just mentioned, the client with the SEO business.
Mm.
So we just help them solve the SEO part of their business, helping clients improve local SEO for their businesses. We just did that, but we just did that with a product, with the help of AI. Everything he was doing manually, and it's not rocket science. I mean, you can understand, like, it's just prompt engineering. Once if you are doing SEO for someone, and if you can write some good prompt that can do all of that SEO for someone in particular, then that can be converted into an AI based product. Same goes for some edtech products as well. So
Mm.
there is an awesome edtech product that we have worked on. I cannot reveal a lot of details, but just to give you a hindsight, like, so teachers and instructors have a lot of like, uh, they have to plan courses, they have to
Mhm.
plan lessons and everything. All of that process can be automated, can be not automated, but can be improved a lot, can be made a lot more efficient using AI. Anything that you do in your business, so let's say we are in the service business, and we send a lot of proposals to clients, and we send a lot of messages and emails. And we yeah, I mean, let's take the example of proposals. So we have to automate some part of it, the proposals part of it, the outreach part of it.
Mm.
Every component of your own business can be improved using AI,
Mm.
right? So whatever you are already doing, keep doing that, right? Just see where AI can help, and if it
Mm.
can help, then introduce AI into your product. And that is
Uh-huh.
what we are doing right now.
Okay, that's interesting. We have one question from the chat. Let's take that as well. It's It's Tanveer Hamza who's saying, I'm into full stack development. How can I start AI with that? What are the major aspects to look for in AI? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so Tanveer, you are into full stack development. So I am assuming you know front end and you know back end, right? So if you know front end and back end, you know API integration as well. If you know API integration, there is basically nothing that is holding you back from getting into AI these days. So because AI these days is a lot more of API integration and using a bunch of libraries, which is just Pinecone is like an online service. You can just integrate their API after creating vector databases. And then there is LangChain, which is a library. It helps you with a lot of prompt engineering. It helps you with chunking. It helps you with like defining how you want to present your data or input your large amount of data to some models. So if you, Tamir, if you know full stack development, you are all ready for AI, right? Just start building some product of your own. And I mean, anyone basically can build their own chatbots, right? So if you have any knowledge, let's say you are a CS major or you know full stack development, you know full stack development in, for example, React. So just to showcase your capabilities, build a chatbot for React, something like reacttanveer.io, something like that. People go over there, ask questions for React, they get impressed, you know, and you can use that project as portfolio for your clients, right? So I mean, pretty simple, pretty easy, and you don't have to just take a whole course into AI. Just start. I won't recommend taking a huge course, taking a long course with basics, with Python and everything. If you know full stack development, if you know API integration, just watch some documentation and just read some documentation and get into AI. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, my sort of process is the same as well. So I started looking into it just by playing around with OpenAI and AI Studio from Google Gemini. And
Right,
then I also started taking some sort of webinars when I went to the Google office for our IO Connect event. I took a bunch of there were a lot of options, so I could go into web, Angular, mobile, and I went to there was a huge sort of banner visible for everyone with all the timeline of all the sort of workshops
talks.
happening. And I was
Yeah,
like, okay, AI. I'm gonna go with all the AI ones now,
right,
and that was really helpful because I got to know about a lot about what Google was doing and how they're approaching. So for me as well, I think it's good that you have some idea of machine learning, so you know a bit of Python. That's what I started to do as well. um, but as you mentioned, it would not stop you from actually getting into AI. So you have OpenAI
right,
already, you can start
exactly.
working on your applications with AI as well. And that's a really cool thing to do. I'm also going to share one thing that I found recently. I haven't explored it, but I think this is probably interesting to share. So there's this product called Together AI. It's not for beginners, I would assume, but this is from someone that I know is building a lot of cool things. So I'm going to show you a person as well on Twitter. His name is Hassan, and he has created some really interesting projects like Room GPT. So you can give your room's picture, and it essentially gives you a whole redesign of it, so you can know how to do interior designing or what to put in your room based on different moods, so like sleek, modern, retro, and it gives you some ideas of.
Right,
So he builds free things all around, and I think this is a particular product that allows you to create your own model, fine tune it, change the inference. But this is for some advanced users. But the
right.
person who uses it said that it's very easy to implement, and he uses it quite a lot. But he also, I think, works there as well. So that's probably why he has created a lot of apps with that as well. So just wanted to share that. Maybe I can share that in the chat as well, and then you can use that. Awesome. I'm gonna stop
Yeah, I
sharing
think
now.
I
Yes.
think I have read about or heard about Together somewhere, but I think after this webinar, I'll definitely check it out myself.
Absolutely. So coming back to one of the things that we just discussed before we take a bit of more questions, what you mentioned last is you or people or businesses don't have to put this label of AI when they're
Yeah,
promoting their products. And I
right,
think when I see uh, products around, I also feel the same. For example, Canva is a really good product for
Exactly.
designing and whatnot. They do have AI, but they don't
Exactly.
promote themselves as AI based designing. And same goes
And
for example, GitHub
exactly.
and other products as well. So that's a really interesting aspect that businesses should understand. That now I think, since we have gone, as you said, a year and a half with all these open AI and whatnot, so it's quite understood that it's going to have AI, but not as their primary selling point or their unique selling point, but as an addition to whatever you have built already.
As an addition, and I would just add as an essential.
Hmm.
Let's say you mentioned Canva.
Hmm.
So Canva is a huge product. So even if I have not used Canva in the past 6 months, but I
Hmm.
am seeing all of this AI trend, I would assume that Canva, being a huge product, will now have AI in their product. I will
Hmm.
assume by default, right? So people will assume that now that AI is so common, every good product will have AI. So
Exactly.
it has shifted from being a gimmick to
Hmm.
essential part of your, I mean, workflows and everything. So yeah, I mean, especially like with Canva, with all of the products, people will now assume that all the good products will have AI into their products. Yeah.
Exactly. And sometimes the AI might not be as good as well. That's also something that
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
recently figured out. I was using Canva especially for modifying the
Right.
thumbnail for this webinar that we are doing, and it has an expand feature. So I had an image from my designer that was like a square shape, but for LinkedIn banner you need a banner 16 by 9. And I was like, okay, if I can put this to Canva and just say expand it, it would do really good. But first of all,
No.
we had your face and my face in the square image, so it created more people with weird images, and I was like, okay, this is not really what I wanted. And then I saw a little disclaimer just below the expand button that said it might not work for images with faces. So it might not work always with what you intend, but it's really cool to see what AI has been doing. And I'm going to share something later on as well, hopefully before the end of this webinar, that I found in the Google I/O Connect with AI. But let's take some more questions before we move forward. So we have a person whose name seems like Creative Tracks. He says, I'm 18, BSc. So for more, I'm good at React.js and Tailwind. And then the question is, how can I get a remote internship? Do you have any ideas?
Yeah, so there is one thing that I recommend everyone. So he's sophomore.
Hmm.
So he's still in university, and he everything. So one thing that I recommend to everyone I meet in person who asks me for some advice before their graduation is all the time you have before you graduate is bonus, right? So everything you do in that time is just a huge bonus. So I mean, my opinion might be different than what a lot of industry leaders say, so just don't quote me on that. And my opinions can change as well, but just an advice that I give to everyone is work on your skills, improve your skills, and then start getting into freelancing in one way or the other instead of going for internships. Again, if the internships can offer some good opportunity, then you should go for internships. Okay, if the internships can offer you the opportunities within your field, right? If they offer you full stack development internships, then that will be a great internship. But what I have seen in internships is interns are assigned tasks that everyone else hates to do,
Hmm.
right? So if you start doing those tasks which are boring tasks, which might not boost your technical skills, but you might just have a nice little internship written on your resume, then it's not going to help you. Instead, so either go for internships where you actually do a full stack or proper good development, okay,
Hmm.
or just go for freelancing. Okay, go
Okay.
for freelancing on Fiverr or go for freelancing on Upwork, and over there you will be forced to do high quality work, because if you don't do high quality work, your profile will die,
Hmm.
right? So you are forced in a situation where you have to, there are no excuses. You
Hmm.
cannot give any excuse to a client on Upwork or Fiverr. You just have to produce good quality functioning code so you can get a 5-star review.
Hmm. Absolutely. And I think the person also says that they have knowledge of Git, GitHub, and Postman. But I
That's awesome.
what
That's awesome.
and that really helps. But the one of the things that I also recommend people is that with today's market that has changed from the past 10 years, is now companies are not really willing to hire people and then train them because of
Exactly.
the challenges that we have. and everyone wants someone who's ready to just get into the project and then deliver. And for that, you need to first have the skills, and then second, you need to be able to show those skills as quick as possible to the recruiters who are searching through CVs and whatnot. So you not only have to have some cool projects on GitHub, you have to have them in your pinned repositories. You need to have them on you need to have good readmes of those projects. You need to have them deployed, so in the least amount of time and in the least amount of clicks, they can quickly see that you are skilled enough, and they are not just some projects that you have followed through tutorials. Because if a recruiter goes through hundreds of people's resumes, they find, okay, this is something
Yeah.
I've seen already, so that might not stand you out. What I try to suggest to people as well is to change something. Even if you have followed a tutorial, at the end, add some more features, completely change the theme, the colors, the font, make it your own, and then have consistency through that. So all of my projects on GitHub have the same font that I use, because I like that font and I like to make it seem like it's my own project. So that's what I would recommend. We have some questions from LinkedIn as well, but they're not appearing here in the studio, but I'm gonna read
There's
those.
just there is just one more thing I wanted to add in
Yeah,
the same question. So
sure.
you mentioned about like maintaining your GitHub and having all the repos.
Hmm.
Just one thing you also need to do, whether or not you are a sophomore, you are a graduate, or whichever like stage of your career you are at, start posting about your achievements and your projects on your socials, on
Hmm.
LinkedIn as well, especially. So whenever recruiters are finding people, they come across your profile and they don't have to just see that uh, whether or not this person has actually done something, or he's just showcasing some open source projects and showing them on his profile. So if you have done something, just showcase that, post about that on your LinkedIn, on your different social profiles, and that will definitely give you a boost, and like recruiters will automatically reach out to you.
Hmm. Absolutely. So one question from LinkedIn is, we have a person. Sorry if I'm pronouncing the name incorrectly. It's Gian Domenico Santa Maria. He says, sounds like a solid session on AI. How do you think it could change the game for small businesses? Or should small businesses be using AI at all, do you think?
I mean, small businesses need to solve problem first. If the small business, again, I mean, coming back to the same point again and again. So
Hmm.
this AI cannot help you if the business is not solving the problem,
Hmm.
right? So I mean, the previous example I gave, I mean, I keep giving that example because that is an ideal case study for us, because that business is really a small business. It's a small SEO. It was a small SEO business, and then he converted that operations part of it into a product, added AI on top of it, and now it's a product of his, right?
Hmm.
So just keep as long as the small business is solving problem, you can do that. And if you have any like example in particular that how this kind of industry can utilize AI, feel free to drop the like drop your problem, your business problem and your niche, and I'm happy to just go into more details on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would recommend to just reach out to Hashir or RipeSeed in that matter, Gyando. Um, so regarding your customers that you have helped throughout this year, what were the biggest challenges for them, let's say in AI, and how did you come with a solution? How did you propose those solutions?
Right, right. So in most of the cases, the businesses we were working with, so that let's just take the example of the edtech product.
Mm-hmm.
So the edtech product we were working with, and that client already had the product even before the AI came. So the product was something like Jira or Trello, right? It helped instructors and teachers plan their courses, create lesson plans, and everything. So he saw the opportunity that, okay, now AI is here. I can help my people. I can help my clients, my users even more by integrating AI into it. So, what was your question again? And just to make sure I am answering everything right.
So what were the biggest challenges for your customers related to AI, and how
Yeah.
did you come up with the solution?
Oh, yeah, right. So the
Mm-hmm.
challenge in particular is the accuracy
Mm-hmm.
of the AI. Like you just mentioned the example of Canva as well. So in the all the marketing materials and everything, they just mention that okay, you just click and it will just work. But that's not really how it happens, right? So it's solving some problems very very well, and some problems are not solved like in a way that you can present to the end user. So one of the ways we have been, and that being said, we have received some very good accuracy with the products we have delivered, and all of that accuracy is delivered with the help of prompt engineering. So I personally used to think that prompt engineering is not a career or not a field; it's just a made-up thing. But
Hmm.
at this moment, I do think there is a lot of potential for good prompt engineers, right?
Interesting.
Like because the kind of things that you can do with proper prompt engineering, the kind of accuracy that you
Hmm.
can achieve with proper prompt engineering is just mind blowing. Like we have worked on some projects in the past, some chatbots in the past, and the key issue is especially with large businesses. Large businesses have a lot of data, right? And based on that data, we have the chatbot or the AI assistant have to respond based on that large amount of data. If
Hmm.
the AI is hallucinating, right? If there is a lot of hallucination, then it doesn't make sense to trust that AI's answers,
Hmm.
right? And you can improve that just by using good prompt engineering. Your AI assistant will start giving accurate results, close to accurate results,
Hmm.
based on the data of the industries, just with the help of good prompt engineering.
Interesting, because one of the things that I tried, that is from my personal experience, is I tried to connect with my audience with AI, with OpenAI specifically, and for me, no matter how hard I tried with providing the right prompt, because I wanted to get to know people more and see what they're interested in, how their day has been, and that seemed to me like a repetitive task. So what I did basically was just automated something that would post it on my Discord every day, like how you're doing, what are your challenges. But for me, it always seemed like this is coming from the AI. Like, hello tech enthusiasts, how are you doing today? And I'm like, no, I don't talk like that. I don't want to
Exactly.
you to post like that. And I did try a lot of giving it some context, like, you don't have to do this, and it was like 10 lines of code, or 10 lines of prompt that, okay, do not do this, do this. But I could never get it to work. So my question is, when you do prompt engineering, did you also have to pick a particular AI model or service, or did you have to fine tune it, or did you go with the existing solutions and uh, just sort of achieved the accuracy that you mentioned with prompt engineering? Because that's what
Right.
makes it interesting. If that works without any fine tuning, then that's amazing.
So there are two parts of your question. I'll answer both of them. So
Mm-hmm.
the first one is that like basically you have not received the accuracy you wanted to receive, and I
Mm-hmm.
would say I'm having the same experience. Trust
Mm.
me. So
Okay.
whenever I use, so all of the posts I do on my LinkedIn and everything, all of them are written personally by me,
Mm.
typing each word with my hands, right?
Mm.
Not using AI, right?
Mm.
Because I have, whenever I try to ask AI that give me some kind of post, this is my previous post and something, it never generates good human like content.
Mm.
So every time I have to write the content myself. But that being said, I do understand that that is my own personal lack of capability, right? There are people, especially in my team as well, and the people I've been talking to as well, they have shown me by sharing their screen using Claude, like they using Claude and ChatGPT, that they wrote some prompt, they added their previous post over there, and the answers and the response that the bot returned was very much human-like.
Mm.
It was very much like their previous post. So if they
Interesting.
had posted that content, I would have never for a second thought that this is an AI post. So
Mm.
I am personally not able to achieve that, but and I saw what that person did in the prompt.
Mm.
So instead of just telling the prompt that okay, these are my previous posts, and this is my new idea, create a post like that. AI will not work like that. It has never
Mm.
worked for me when I do this. So these are my previous posts, and these are bullet points for my new post. Create a post for me. It will again create an AI like content, and you will scroll instantly when you are going through your LinkedIn profile.
Mm.
So the what that person did different was it asked the AI to analyze the previous posts.
Hmm.
It asks the AI to like extract the hook from the post, and the post extract the main story, extract the key points,
Hmm.
extract the conclusion, everything. First of all, extract all of those points from the post, and then ask the AI to like, this is my idea, this is
Hmm.
my content, add all of those points, all of the that analysis that you have done in the previous post in this new post that I'm planning for
Hmm.
my like LinkedIn, right?
Interesting.
And once you do that, once you ask the AI to do some analysis and generate some analysis report for you, and then based on that report, apply that report to generate a new post, then it returns some amazing response.
Hmm.
And I am
Interesting.
planning to this out with some of my posts, and we will see if that works out or not based on users engagement. But so far all the posts that people see on my LinkedIn are like generated by me, because I was having the same problem.
Okay.
Now the other
Interesting.
question you had was,
Hmm. I forgot. Maybe I think it was majorly that the clients that you help, did you have to do any fine tuning to the models,
right,
or just prompt
right,
engineering?
right, exactly. So yeah, fine tuning. So we have to first understand what fine tuning is basically.
Mm-hmm.
So fine tuning with these large language models is kind of different. So I'm just opening my notes, so I keep noting down the questions as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the fine tuning with these large language models is very much different than fine tunings with the models before this one. So how
Mm-hmm.
the fine tuning works is, you need to give the question and the answer,
Mm-hmm.
right, to a particular problem, and a bunch of questions and answers
Mm-hmm.
to the model, and
Mm-hmm.
then the model fine tune itself that, okay, if the question looks like this, then the answer should look like this, and then you give like 10 or 20 or 100 questions based on how complex your problem is. But you have to be aware of that you don't want to overfit the model as well, because if you overfit the model, then the results will always be like your training data, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in most of the projects we have done, there have been very few cases where we had to do the fine tuning, but like prompt engineering, giving the proper context, that the proper chunking techniques, that is a key area. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of focusing on fine tuning, we have to focus on the right chunking techniques. So and chunking techniques are valid where we have a huge amount of data. So if like all these models, I think GPT has 128K of context, and Gemini has 1 million of tokens
Yes.
context, right? So this much content, even 1 million, is not enough for a huge amount of data, the data that industries have.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we solve that? We solve that with chunking, and if we add the layer, and that is where rags come, right? So we have to add a layer of rags to our AI products. So
Mm-hmm.
the data is first added into rags, into our rag solution. We have to chunk that data properly, and then it runs a similarity search on our initial user query.
Hmm. Could you briefly explain RAG for the people who don't know about that?
Yeah, please. Yeah, sure. So rags are basically retrieval augmented generation. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
like, just to highlight the whole name. So with rags, basically, what you need to do is, rags are there. Rags is just like a similarity search. Okay, as per my understanding, and my understanding can be wrong. So please feel free to correct me in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
So rags is basically similarity search and different techniques of running a similarity search. So we just add a huge amount of data to our rag system, and then we just chunk the data based on their context, and then based on the token size, there are different techniques. We can chunk the data based on different token sizes, based on the lengths, based on semantics, that
Mm-hmm.
if we have a huge story, and the character introduction is in different parts of that story, so we can do this semantic chunking. And what we can do is, all the introductions for all the characters in the story can be in one chunk.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
so there are different chunking techniques.
Okay.
So, and this is rag, and then our rag solution just runs a similarity search on top of that. So before passing that data to OpenAI, to
Hmm.
these AI models, we do the similarity search on our side.
Hmm.
Okay, the similarity search is done, and then the chunks which we think are relevant and can fit in the context of the model, we pass those chunks in the model, and then it's AI model's responsibility to generate a human like response, or the
Hmm.
response that we are familiar with, the chatbot responses.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting. We have a question from Huzefa Khan, who says, I recently started freelancing with two friends and we are exploring platforms like Upwork to secure our initial projects. I'd appreciate any highlights or strategies you might share on landing clients.
Yeah. So first of all, if you guys are starting out, so all of these platforms, Upwork, Fiverr, all of them give some initial boost to the new profiles. Okay. So you have to first set up your profile properly, because what all of these platforms do is, whenever there is a job post, so there is one misconception as well, that you have to place a bid on the project right after the project is posted. Even if you do that, the projects, the proposals are not sorted in a way uh, the bid is placed. So they are sorted in the recommended manner. So Upwork's algorithm recommends the most relevant proposal, because Upwork also wants the projects to close. That is how Upwork makes money, right? So Upwork wants the people to close the projects. So they highlight the proposals which are very much relevant to a particular job post, and then bring them on top, right? So posting a proposal right after the job is posted is not going to help you a lot, right? Even if you do it in an hour, in 2 days, we have seen positive results even after posting a proposal after 2 days on some job post.
Hmm.
Okay. So so improve your profiles. So now that we have understood that Upwork will not sort the jobs by the time of the posting, we now have to understand how will we rank in the recommended section, right? Algorithm does that by reading your proposal and by reading your profile's content. So if your profile's content is empty, if your profile content just says I'm a full stack engineer with experience in React and MERN and nothing else, then how will algorithm know that you have all the right skills that are mentioned in the job post, right?
Hmm.
So improve your profile a lot. Improve your profile a lot. Like, trust me, I used to get more invites when I was not a not top rated plus than I used to receive right now. Like,
Hmm.
I used to have like 3 to 4 invites for jobs back in the day when I was starting out, and right now when I am top rated plus, that flow is reduced a lot. Why? Because Upwork tests this out with new profiles.
Hmm.
Whenever there is a new profile, Upwork and Fiverr, they try to give you a chance and see if this talent can grab some client, because more and more people they enable, they will generate more revenue,
Hmm.
right? So if you are just starting out, improve your profiles, work on improving your profiles. There have been people, if you just do some search on YouTube and you will find them. uh, they are a huge advocate of not bidding at all and just relying entirely on invites,
Hmm.
right, on Upwork. So do that, and do that. Plus, start placing bids on a regular basis. So whatever number of bids you are placing, just do that regularly. If you are placing 5 bids, then it should be 5 bids per day on a regular basis without break, unless and until you close a client. It should be 10 bids per day or 20 bids per day, whichever is your goal. And just to give you guys a story, before landing any client at all, I placed 100 bids on Upwork. 100 bids and zero clients on Upwork. And right now, so you see the state that we are in.
Hmm.
So, I mean, if you have not placed, I mean, I just say this to everyone. Like, if you have not placed 100 bids and you are saying that I have not received a client, don't come to me.
Don't talk to
I
me at
placed
all.
100, I placed 100 bids first.
Exactly. That also reminds me of the of one of the most famous YouTubers, Mr. Beast. If you have seen them,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
he
yeah,
also
yeah.
mentioned that he didn't get any sort of good views before his 101th video. So it's like
Right.
you need to put things out there without waiting for a result. You and I also since I started reading books quite recently again, there's a quote from or there's a concept from the atomic habits book
Atomic
that also
habits. Yeah.
mentions that you without waiting for the result you need to establish a habit. So when you, for example, instead of saying I want to go to the gym to get fit, I would rather say I'm a person who goes to the gym. So now I don't really care about the result.
The
I just
results.
need to
Yeah.
be that person. So you sort of attach it with your identity. So similarly, you should strive to be a person who places bid on Upwork, no matter what, and then eventually you'll get the result as well.
There is a very I think it's a quotation I read somewhere,
Hmm.
and it's like people ask everyone like, how did you do it, or like, how can I do it? So it's not about how you did it. It's about what you have to be to achieve something, what you
Exactly.
have to be as a person, like everything you have to leave, everything you have to do, like you have what you have to be as a person to achieve something. It's not about all the steps that I did. I mean, everyone's formula for success is different,
Hmm.
but then you have to be someone. You have to be someone as a person to achieve something. Yeah.
Exactly. That quite aligns with that. All right. I have a really interesting question for you. So when providing solutions to your customers, the AI solutions, and this goes into two parts.
Right.
We're now talking about ethics with AI, and this is something that Google also talks quite a lot about in the terminology of responsible AI. So when we talk about responsible AI or ethical AI, how do you ensure that the AI solutions that you're providing to the client would not go out of the ethical boundary? And how do you ensure that, for example, if I'm your client and I'm saying, hey, give me an AI solution, and you give me a solution, how do I know that it works well, it works as intended? So, um, uh, going back to this situation, that this is not just a scam. So, do you provide some numbers? Do you provide some analytics on how does this work?
Right. So
Hmm.
um, the the casting is right. It's all right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Right. So the main topic is ethics in AI, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So for ethics, we a lot of the products we develop are based entirely on these large models and
Hmm.
the ones that these large corporations have developed and launched. So like OpenAI, Gemini, Llama. Especially most of the products that we are still building are based either on Llama or on GPT. Like 90% of the projects are still on GPT
Hmm.
because the accuracy is so good, and the like the safety is better on OpenAI's models than other models, right? So most of the time it's these models and these products that we are working on. Now, as for the ethics, these models do take care of all the ethics, but you have to provide that disclaimer in your application that it's possible, it's an AI product, it's an emerging field, it can go out of the way. You can do some kind of sneaky prompt engineering and just ask the bot or LLM to answer something else. And I when like Llama 3 launched with WhatsApp, I did some I can't reveal the chats exactly with Llama 3, but I made it answer things that it was not willing to answer.
Hmm.
Right.
Interesting.
Because there are all of these loopholes and all of those sneaky prompts that you can just create and it can go out of the way. So but there is one way you can improve that. There is one way, there is like even if all of there are some issues with the technology right now, it's not as good or as safeguarded, you still have to do all the precautions from your side.
Hmm.
And coming back to that again, prompt engineering,
Hmm.
right? Good prompt engineering can safeguard your model or your application or your use case to just go out of your boundary of the use case.
Hmm.
So let's say if you are building a chatbot for, let's say, your company, and you don't want the chatbot to answer with the algorithm of bubble sort, you can just make sure that the prompt you define that do not answer anything outside the scope of this document or the
Hmm.
scope of our company, right? Even if it's mentioned inside the prompt, even if it's being asked as part of some question, you just have to somehow add those safeguards. But you have to understand that people will again find ways to pass that as well, to break that as well. And you will have to keep innovating with that. You will have to keep improving that with the newer versions and keep that disclaimer up all the time for the next few years at least until this field has matured enough that this is an AI product. If you are willing to take that bet, if you are taking that risk, be aware of it that the responses you get sometimes will not be as good as you would want them to be.
Hmm, exactly. And all of the AI products today, they mention this, that the responses might be wrong or the
Exactly.
experimental, blah blah blah. So that's
Yeah,
really interesting. All right, towards the end of our webinar, I want to also ask you about a very interesting thing that I saw on LinkedIn. Could you talk about Ask RipeSeed.io? What was
I
that?
would
How
love
did
to.
you come? And can you show a demo even if possible?
Sure,
or
I'm
I
not
can
with the
if you
screen
want.
share. I mean, you can please feel free to.
Sure.
I hope it doesn't go out of the way during the demo.
No,
But yeah,
no
I mean,
purpose.
I would love to first tell the backstory of why we decided to put some effort into Ask RipeSeed.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem we had was we worked on a bunch of AI based projects, but most of those AI projects had some kind of wall in front of them, like sign up or paywall or subscription. So
Mm-hmm.
it was really hard for us to showcase our AI capabilities to our clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we felt like, we need to create a chatbot, something public facing, that we can just send to our new potential customers, that see, this is a bot we created for ourselves, we can create something very similar for you as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we are planning to add a lot more capabilities, like function calling, adding like component streaming, that is the new feature in Next.js, and all of those things in this product in the coming weeks. So just stay tuned on my LinkedIn. But yeah, so this is the reason that uh, forced us to build something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what does this do? Ask RipeSeed. So if you go to Ask RipeSeed, you will see two tabs. It says Ask RipeSeed and Ask Anything. So
Mm-hmm.
Ask RipeSeed is basically a bot. You can, if you have a problem, if you have a product idea and you want to work with this, but you are not sure whether or not we can help you out with that, add your idea into the chat, and
Mm-hmm.
our bot will tell you that, okay, this company can do this, and they have worked on these platforms, and these are the relevant portfolios as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
our clients don't even have to talk to me, to our salespeople, to our engineers, that
Mm-hmm.
have you guys worked on something like this. They can just go to our bot. They can go to Ask RipeSeed. They can go to ask.ripeseed.io, and they can input their whole problem, and it will reply that whether or not we can do it or we can't do it, and if
Mm-hmm.
we can do it, which are the relevant portfolios um, that are similar to this one.
Uh-huh. So can I ask something from us?
Yeah, please.
So can you help me become an opera singer? Let's see what it says.
Let's hope it doesn't fail. But oh yes, it didn't
Okay,
fail.
okay, that's really good. Interesting. But if you, so it says, if you have any questions related to software services or technology, please feel free to ask. That's super cool. So maybe let's ask, can you help me create a serverless backend solution as a SaaS? So interesting. Okay, so it seems like you also have some projects that you have worked with, Super Reply, a project for scheduling B2B appointments. Interesting. So this is really
and
cool. Hmm,
and you have asked about serverless. So on top of the message,
mhm.
it mentions AWS Lambda, Google Cloud Platform, all of those things, and the serverless backend solution, everything.
Interesting. This is really cool, and I especially like it because it's the perfect example of, practice what you preach. So you help others build or work with AI, so you have your own solution for it, and this is a really good portfolio for you as well. So you can show that
Exactly.
okay, it's not just something we are saying. This is a practical implementation. But I do want to go a bit deeper into this. So this, what does this run on? Is this your own custom model which is fine tuned, or is it some service that you're using?
So there are different chunking techniques behind that. We have a huge document that
Mm-hmm.
mentions all of our portfolios. There are some projects which are not launched yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have not mentioned those projects in that document. So the names for them are censored. So
Mhm,
even if the bot needs to tell you about that portfolio, it
mhm,
will not give any link. It will
hmm,
just say we have worked on a similar product and these were the similar features of that product, and we will just like rename some features or something like that to
hmm.
secure the privacy of our clients. So that is how we are taking care of the privacy and security, right?
Awesome.
So
And
like the second one, yeah,
yeah.
like there is no link, but we know the link and everything, but we have
Mhm.
not mentioned that anywhere over there. And even if you do all kind of prompt engineering, you cannot get the link out of it because it's not part of the data, it's not
Ah,
part of the
okay.
knowledge base, right? So
Interesting.
we just completely obfuscated all of that information from the core knowledge base of it.
Hmm. Interesting. But is the model or the AI model that you're using
The
here,
AI
is
model,
that something that
that
that is
is,
your
yeah,
own?
no, we are using GPT 4.0
Aha, okay.
for this at the moment. One thing we are also planning to do is we plan to add capabilities for multiple models within the same, because this is more of like a portfolio project.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
on top, soon there will be a drop down, and you can choose your own model, GPT-4, Llama, Claude, anything, and it will, and you can test it out which model gives better responses.
Uh-huh,
Right now,
interesting.
it's running on GPT-4o.
Interesting. So just with GPT-4o, some chunking, and obviously the prompt
Yeah,
engineering, you're able to create your
exactly,
own customized chatbot with your own data
exactly.
set. And okay, that's super cool. And is this a common pattern for your clients as well that you help with, or is this the usual? If I ask, maybe let's say out of 10 businesses who come to you for AI solution, is this a common pattern that they want something like this or a chatbot like
Right.
this?
So, I would say no.
Hmm.
So, most of our clients have products,
Hmm.
and they need AI integration into their existing products. So, the
Interesting.
chatbots, even though chatbots is a very common feature,
Hmm.
but most of our clients are not looking for chatbots.
Hmm.
I mean, I would say 2 out of 10 of our clients are looking for chatbots in particular.
Hmm.
Then, but the other 8 clients are looking for products, and their product needs a feature, and that feature needs AI suggestions or
Okay.
AI based data enrichment or suggestions or something like that.
Hmm.
So you are right now at Ask Anything. I would like
Yes.
because there is yeah. So what Ask Anything does is it's like a basic simple chatbot,
Hmm.
but you need to add your own API OpenAI key
Hmm.
over there. You can click over here, add your own OpenAI key, and then use that as a simple chatbot. So we just
Okay.
build that to showcase that just showcase the chatbot development capabilities. You can
Hmm.
attach your own knowledge base, and it can
Hmm.
answer based on that knowledge base as well.
Hmm. Interesting. So one question that I had when I was actually here last time I was checking it, do you save my OpenAI key?
No, we don't
Okay.
save your OpenAI key. So your OpenAI key will be in your local storage on your
Okay.
browser.
Okay.
So if Google saves that, that is not a problem.
Okay. Okay.
So we don't save your OpenAI key.
Hmm.
You can verify that in your local storage, and we don't save your messages as well. All of
Okay.
those, so you will see multiple threads, multiple chat threads created over on the left side. All
Hmm.
of that chat is stored locally in your browser's local storage.
Interesting. Yeah, it would be also awesome to mention it here because I think people would be skeptical before providing their
Right.
OpenAI keys or hesitant.
Amazing selection.
Hmm?
Amazing selection.
Awesome. That's super cool. So, I don't think we have any more questions from here. Is there anything that you would like to say before we close off?
I mean, I would just say from the AI part, I mean,
Hmm.
these are the two conversations that we had in the webinar mostly. So from the AI part, it's just exciting. It's
Hmm.
just exciting, but we have to be a bit careful as well. That be open to adapt new things
Hmm.
and be open to revert back as well.
Hmm.
So, let's take the example of Ask RipeSeed. If someone points out something that this is wrong, or like there is something that should not be there, so I'm open to suggestions. We
Hmm.
will just revert it back. Same is the case for all the AI products. It's new. We need to jump onto this bandwagon, but we have to be careful that this is something which is a bit risky as well.
Hmm.
This is something that we yet do not fully understand. That
Hmm.
how these AI models are able to respond so well, right?
Hmm.
So if something wrong happens, we have to be willing to revert back from our footprint. The
That's
other
interesting.
question,
Hmm.
yeah, please.
And also that's very interesting. And I think what I sort of perceive this as also is companies who have a lot of stakeholders and they try to go to the, for
Exactly,
example, the next milestone, that this is what we have to do, and they're super focused on. So they would have to keep this in mind, the stakeholders
exactly,
and the leadership, that this has to be an experiment, this has to be something that
exactly,
you cannot rely on completely, so it might fail just like everything
exactly.
else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, we have seen all of those movies where some stakeholders are not willing to step back and they just want to keep innovating, innovating. So we don't want
exactly.
to see those movies play out.
Exactly. And then we have people who are just struggling to live, and there's a
Yeah,
zombie apocalypse or not. So there's so many things going on.
robotics apocalypse, even worse.
Yes. Awesome. This was really, really helpful, Hashir. And it's always fun talking to you. I hope I can get you again on the webinar and discuss more stuff as well. But thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Hassan. So nice to meet you again. Even the first time I met you, I really enjoyed talking to you. And again, everything that you are doing, I think you are so humble and you don't mention your achievements a lot. But I mean, everything that you are doing, writing the Angular cookbook, and like running this show, on your YouTube channel, attending all of those conferences and everything, you are doing an awesome job, brother. So nice to meet you always.
Thank you. Jazakallah. Thank you. Awesome. Have a good rest of your weekend, and I'll see you soon, inshallah.
Thank you. Allah
Thank you.
Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. This should not be shown. So, a- anyone who has any ideas, any people that you think should come on this webinar, we should talk to them. Just let me know in the chat. Just mention them in the comments as well. And what I'll try to do is to get them and have discussions with them, have questions with them. And the whole idea, as I mentioned in this beginning of this webinar, is to connect you to people who are in the leadership positions, who are doing their own ventures, who have ideas of how to run businesses, how to enable other people to run businesses as well, and to the developers community as well. So you have seen me mostly working with developers on the developers sort of area and being centric towards that. But this whole webinar series, Venture Voices, is more towards people doing amazing things as their own startups or their ventures. So feel free to write in the comments if you know someone that we should get on to this webinar. But there are more webinars coming soon as well with a lot of interesting people. And I can give you a hint already about the next one. So we're going to have Mashood Rastagar, who is right now working with Talimabad, has been a CTO in Sasta Ticket, has run his own company called Recursive. I worked with him in the past as well. Actually, under him, he was my lead back then. So it would be super awesome, and I'll share the details pretty soon. We'll create an event as well, but it's going to happen 2 weeks after on a Saturday as well. So thank you so much, everyone who has joined, and I'm going to see you next time. And as always, happy coding and happy weekend.